UFC 324, before we get in the main card, any preliminary fights you want to focus on? I know that main event of the preliminary card is pretty good.
Yeah, this whole card is, I mean, they're obviously first fight card with Paramount. So UFC wants to make a bang, wants to make it a good show for them. So lots of great fights on here. Just going to highlight a few here. Michael Johnson versus Alexander Hernandez. Michael Johnson's always in a fun fight. He's like 45 years old or something.
Yeah.
Still super exciting. Nikita Krylov versus Modestas Bukauskas. Super fun striking matchup there. Atiba Gautier. I think that's how it's pronounced. He's this giant middleweight from Cameroon. He doesn't have a lot of fights in the UFC, but he's got a lot of power. He's been knocking a lot of guys out. So he's fighting Andrei Puliev. And then obviously Umar Nurmagomedov versus Davis and Figueiredo. Possible title implications in that one.
I like this fight so much. I actually took a little time to do what we normally do for the main card. I'm just going to tell people some stats here. Umar, 19-1, 2 KOs, 7 subs, 10 decisions. This guy's had fight of the night one time, performance of the night twice. Figueiredo, 25, 5-1, 9 KOs, 9 subs, 7 decisions. This guy's been flyweight champion multiple times. He's dangerous at bantamweight. I think he's an interesting matchup for Umar because he's just got such great submission game. That being said, I'm going to take Umar probably by decision here, we'll say.
Yeah, I picked Umar to be champ by the end of the year, so.
Okay, so there you go. There it is, the big thumbnail. Gaethje versus Pimblett. Great main event, of course. We think we might have talked about this last week. I don't remember, but Kayla Harrison and Amanda Nunes, unfortunately, is off this card now. Hopefully that'll get rescheduled soon.
Yeah, that is a big disappointment, but luckily the card's super stacked, so, we're going to be all right.
Oh, yeah.
Let's start off this main card with Arnold Allen versus Gene Silva.
Gene Silva, 16-3, 12 KOs, 3 subs, and 1 decision. Fight of the night twice against Drew Dober and Diego Lopez. Performance of the night twice. This guy was on a 13-fight win streak before he ran into Diego Lopez's spinning back elbow and some ground and pound. Diego Lopez obviously getting a title shot now. So no shame in that. Silva's been on a tear up until that point. Most notably, we talked about, being able to put to sleep Bryce Mitchell. That was super impressive. But Arnold Allen is a guy who's 20-3, 7 KOs, 4 subs, 9 decisions. Had the third longest win streak in UFC featherweight division history. He's had a performance tonight 3 times. His only losses too were to Max Holloway and Movazar Evolve, who's undefeated right now and could be also looking at a title shot as well. So no shame in that. This is a really good matchup here. I'm gonna go Allen. I thought in this fight, I'd be going for Silva. I thought he's looked, a little more impressive, but I think Silva getting caught by Diego, it just shows that, I don't know. I think somebody technically sound like Arnold Allen. I think he always comes in game plan ready. I think Arnold Allen is going to do what he has to do to win a decision. And I also think Silva is reckless enough that maybe he'll get caught even, but I'm not going to go that far. I'll go Allen decision.
Yeah, I've been high on Arnold Allen for a while, but he has struggled lately. You mentioned the losses to Max Holloway in 2023, Mozavar in 2024, and then a decision win over Giga Chikadze, who's, not the highest level, and then an injury that kept him out all of 2025. So, struggling a bit. Gene Silva has had 6 wins and 1 loss in that time. You mentioned to Diego Lopez, which in a fight that was very competitive until he got caught with that spinning back elbow. Right. And Lopez is now getting a title shot. So that's the level that Silva's at. So I really want to pick Allen. I am a fan of Silva. I'm a fan of all the Fight Nerds guys, but I want to pick Allen. But I just expect him to start a bit slower and rusty. And Gene Silva is just the guy that you can't do that against. He's going to come out very fast and explosive. So Allen's never been finished before, but if anyone's going to do it, it'll be Silva. So I'm going to pick Silva, TKO round 1, kind of hoping I'm wrong.
Makes sense, but you've actually changed my mind. I'm going to actually still stick with Arnold Allen, and I'm going to say that Arnold's going to stay composed, and he's going to end up catching Silva. And I'm going to say Silva's going to end up probably learning a lesson after getting caught by Diego and Arnold Allen back to back. We shall see, but I'm maybe a little out there, but I'm going to go with that pick. So
All right, moving on. Another good matchup. Natalia Silva versus Rose Namajunas.
Yeah, Natalia Silva, 19-5-1, 5 KOs, 7 subs, 6 decisions, 1 disqualification win. She's on a 16-fight win streak overall in her career, 7-0 in the UFC. Fight of the night with Jessica Andrade, performance of the night once. She's also coming off a win over Alexa Grasso. So, she is really cooking right now. Rose Namajunas, 14-7, 2 KOs, 5 subs, 7 decisions. She's won 3 out of her last 4 as well right now. 2-time women's strawweight champion, performance of the night 3 times, fight of the night 3 times. But I like Silva here. I think Silva will get it done by decision. I think she's just on a tear right now. And I think she's on her way to a title shot soon.
Does Rose still want to be champ? I know she has a good win over Miranda Maverick last year, but Silva next level, like you mentioned, 16 in a row. A prime motivated Rose, I would never pick against. She's one of the greatest women's fighters of all time. I'm just not so convinced that she has that kind of fire anymore. And I kind of called her out for this in the last fight, and then she got the win over Miranda, but I just think Natalia certainly has that fire, and she knows a win against Rose basically guarantees her a title shot next. So I think she gets it done. I'll say decision in a very close fight.
All right.
And you might see Rose retire. I know she's still young, but I just feel like she has so many things outside of fighting that she wants to do and is passionate about. So I don't think this one probably goes to decision.
No.
Here. So Waldo Cortes-Acosta versus Derrick the Black Beast Lewis.
Yeah, Acosta 16-2, 8 KOs, 1 sub, 7 decisions, 9-2 in the UFC. He's won 7 out of his last 8. Performance of the night twice, and he's tied for most bouts in a calendar year in UFC history. Very active for a heavyweight, which is awesome. Derrick Lewis is 29-12-1, 24 KOs, 1 subs, 4 decision. He's won 3 out of his last 4. Performance of the night 5 times, fight of the night 3 times, and most knockouts in UFC history. So the guy with the most knockouts is facing the guy who has the most fights in the calendar year, and they're heavyweights. This is pretty fun. I think Lewis is, a lot of times in my mind, never really the favorite. Like, he's just a guy that's got that power, and he finds a way to win. So I like Derrick, but I'm going to go Acosta here, and I'm going to say Acosta probably was going to get him down, and I'll say he submits him. Round 2.
Okay, I've never seen Costa attempt to take down before. So I don't think either one of them is getting submitted, but I think it really comes down to who lands first. Like, honestly, who lands first? I know Derrick said that the UFC gave him some peptides or something, and he's never felt better. Plus, obviously, he's the KO king, like you mentioned. But he's also 40 years old. Heavyweight, that means a little bit less, so you reach the prime later, but still 40 is 40. I don't know if you really can be your best at 40. Waldo, like you mentioned, more active, 5 fights last year. Main thing is he's faster. So I think he's going to be able to land on Derrick first. And Derrick has been hurt before, and Costa has a lot of power. So I think he hurts him and then just pummels him, and the ref stops it. So I'll say TKO for Waldo. I'll say round 2. I hope I'm wrong. I'd love to see another hype train derailed by Black Beast. He comes out looking slim and the best he's ever looked, and looks like a title contender and actually wants to go for a title. That would be an ideal situation for me. But as for now, I'm going with Waldo Cortes-Acosta.
Okay, Waldo Cortes-Acosta. And by the way, they both each have 1 submission win throughout their career. So we'll see. I think Acosta's going to get on top. I think it's ground and pound, and maybe hits him, get a submission or a ground and pound. But that's what I see. I don't know if he takes him down, but I see Derrick on his back somehow.
If Derrick does get on his back, he doesn't believe in jiu-jitsu and he just stands up kind of thing. Waldo's a big dude. That'd be very difficult for him to just stand up with him on top. So on to the co-main event here. Interesting crossroads fight. Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong.
Yeah, I don't think this one's going to end up going the distance either, although if it does, it could be fireworks. O'Malley, 18-3-1, 12 KOs, 1 sub, 5 decision, former bantamweight champion, most significant strikes landed in a UFC bantamweight title fight against Marlon Vera. This guy's had fight of the night 3 times, performance of the night 6 times, most fight bonuses in bantamweight division history. Song Yadong, 22-8-1-1, 9 KOs, 3 subs, 10 decisions, 5-time performance of the night, fight of the night tonight one time. So two very exciting fighters that love to bring fireworks. I think they do. I think O'Malley's a bit more of a sniper. I think he wants this, and I think O'Malley knows that with Jan as champ now, that if he can pull off a win here, he could see him back in a championship position that he probably wasn't going to be in. Won't be shocked if Song wins this. I think either one of them can take each other out, but I'm going to go O'Malley, round 3, TKO.
Yeah, Song, very fast, explosive. His wrestling's improved a lot under Uriah Faber, but Sean O'Malley's a sniper. He's got long reach. His timing's fantastic. They say timing beats speed. So I expect him to win. I'm going to go with you, actually. KO, round 3. If he does lose, though, I expect him to retire. I think, maybe if he loses to Song and he doesn't see a title, in his next couple fights, he just gets out of the game while he's still relatively fresh.
You've predicted 2 possible retirements for this show. Interesting to say, but it could happen. Yeah.
Moving on to our main event here, maybe a third retirement. Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett.
Jesus, it's going to be a sad card. All right, Paddy Pimblett, 23-3, 7 KOs, 10 subs, 6 decisions. Performance of the night, 5 times. Gaethje, 26-5. 20 KOs, 1 subs, 5 decisions. Former interim UFC lightweight champion, former UFC BMF title holder, fight of the night 9 times, performance of the night 5 times. This guy's a bonus machine. He's the human highlight reel. He's done everything except won the straight up lightweight championship. That's what he wants to do before he retires. He's tremendously motivated. Paddy Pimblett, I was looking at this guy's last couple wins, the Michael Chandlers, the Bobby Greens, the Tony Fergusons. And if you look at his fights, especially the one with Jared Gordon, where he didn't look quite as impressive, and some of his early wins, you think, okay, he's a fun fighter, but he's probably going to get to a certain point. And if you think about Chandler and all these guys, they're a little bit past their prime. But Pimblett keeps looking better and better. If you look at the Ferguson win that he got, it was actually by decision. It was a good fight, and he looked good, but it was a decision. He finished Green. He's finished Chandler. I think this is the thing with Paddy, is that he's developing momentum, and he's just becoming better and better each time. And he's fighting Gaethje at the perfect point, you would think, in his career. So he has all that momentum. I think it's his time. I think he's going to rise to the occasion. But, man, I would not be shocked at all if Gaethje turns his lights out or gets the win. This is definitely, we talked about the other fight being a crossroads fight. Maybe it's not so much a crossroads for Paddy because he's still undefeated in the UFC, but it's definitely a fight where, man, I could see this going either way, and it's going to be a big point in somebody's career here. So I got Paddy. I think they're going to go balls to the wall. So I'm going to put Paddy by, I'm going to say sub, but I'm going to tell you that Gaethje probably passes out. And that'll probably be round 2, because I think they're going to go so hard with each other. And I think Gaethje's going to have Paddy in trouble at different points. But I think by round 2, this fight's probably going to be finished up.
Yeah, very interesting fight. It could go a few ways. I think it depends on how much Paddy engages in a brawl and how many leg kicks Justin lands. So if they're both just walking into a firefight, I can see Gaethje getting an early win. But I think Paddy will fight smarter. I imagine he's going to use a similar game plan to what he used against Chandler, managing the distance with the side kicks to the legs and mixing in high kicks because he's not afraid of being taken down, obviously. And if Justin gets impatient and rushes in, he unloads the power counters when Justin's reaching. But and also for Paddy, if Justin gets all the way in, and Paddy's going to clinch him and jump to guard or jump on his back like he did against Bobby Green, and he can get a sub there too. He's far superior submission grappling on the ground. So I think I'm going to pick Paddy, though, by KO. I think he starts out with the feeling him out, and then I think Justin gets impatient and he ends up getting caught reaching, and Paddy knocks him out with a counter right hand or something like that. But, I would like to see Justin get his shot.
Yeah.
So, this is probably near the end of the road for him. Obviously, he's talking about retiring before this. So if he can get this intern title shot and then get a title, unification bout against Ilya, I think he has an okay chance against Ilya. So I'm rooting for Justin, even though I like Paddy as well.
Yeah.
But I got to pick Paddy. I'm going to say round 4 ultimately. That's what my brain says.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going a little earlier, but I think that that's definitely kind of how I see it, is that Paddy's going to do what he needs to get the win, and I think that it's just more his time right now. But if it's not, and Justin shows up, looking as good as ever, then yeah, I would agree. Stylistically, I wouldn't favor him, but he has a good chance against Ilya too, if that Justin can be who he is, just because he has that ability to turn your lights out. Unlike a lot of people at lightweight, like he is, I would say, one of the best finishers in lightweight history when you think about it.
Yeah, for sure.